The days after meeting Ethan seemed to pass in a golden haze. I hadn't expected his presence to linger in my thoughts the way it did. But there he was, his warm smile, his easy laughter, occupying a space in my mind that had been quiet for too long. When he texted me to ask if I wanted to meet again, my fingers hesitated over the keys. For someone like me, careful and deliberate in every decision, the idea of rushing into anything felt unnatural, and yet, the thought of saying no felt like closing a door on something that might just be extraordinary. We met at a local farmer's market, the kind of bustling, colorful place that I'd always appreciated but rarely ventured into. Ethan's suggestion had caught me off guard. It was so different from the quiet, predictable settings I usually preferred. But as I stood at the market entrance, surrounded by the scents of fresh herbs and baked goods, I couldn't help but feel a spark of curiosity. Ethan was already waiting for me, his easygoing demeanor as magnetic as ever. He greeted me with a grin, holding out a small paper bag.
"Try this,"
he said, offering me a piece of candied ginger.
"The vendor swears it'll change your life."
I laughed, surprised at his enthusiasm. "You're quite the risk taker, aren't you?"
"Only when it's worth it,"
he replied, his eyes twinkling. We wandered through the market, stopping at stalls that caught our attention. Ethan had a knack for drawing people out, chatting with vendors about their produce and making me laugh with his commentary. His energy was infectious, and for the first time in a long while, I felt myself relaxing, letting go of the invisible checklist that usually governed my days. As we passed a flower stall, I noticed a bouquet of vibrant tulips, bold reds and yellows that seemed to radiate warmth. "Tulips are my favorite," I said without thinking. Ethan glanced at them, then back at me.
"Let me guess. You like the ones that are sturdy, dependable. They last longer than most, right?"
I blinked, caught off guard by his insight. Something like that. "They're simple but beautiful,"
"Like you,"
he said, his tone light but sincere. The comment lingered in the air between us, and I felt a warmth rise to my cheeks. Over the weeks that followed, our connection deepened in ways I hadn't anticipated. Ethan's spontaneity brought out a side of me I'd long kept buried. He introduced me to hiking trails that wound through lush forests and challenged me to try recipes that required more than my usual methodical approach. I found myself looking forward to his texts, his calls, the way he made even the simplest outings feel like an adventure. But true to my nature, I couldn't help but approach our budding relationship with caution. My past experiences had left me wary of letting anyone too close, too quickly. Those fleeting connections had taught me the importance of stability, of building something that could withstand the inevitable tests of time. With Ethan, though, things felt different. He didn't rush me, didn't push for more than I was ready to give. His patience was steady, his presence reassuring. One evening, as we sat on the small patio behind my house, sipping glasses of wine and watching the sun dip below the horizon, Ethan turned to me with a thoughtful expression.
"You're a hard person to read sometimes, you know that?"
I raised an eyebrow, intrigued. "How so?"
"You're steady, grounded. It's one of the things I like most about you. But sometimes, I feel like there's this wall, like you're waiting for the other shoe to drop."
His words struck a chord I hadn't expected. "I guess I've always believed that good things take time," I admitted. "Rushing into anything has never worked for me before."
"Fair enough,"
he said, his tone gentle.
"But sometimes you just have to take the leap and trust that the ground will be there when you land."
His perspective was foreign to me, but it lingered in my thoughts long after he left that night. Maybe he was right. Maybe, just maybe, this was worth the risk. Every moment with Ethan felt like another brick in the foundation we were building together. From our shared laughter to the quiet moments when words weren't necessary, our bond was growing stronger. I felt a sense of contentment I hadn't known I was missing, and for the first time in years, I allowed myself to imagine what it might be like to share my life with someone who understood me so completely. It wasn't just trust that was forming between us, it was the beginning of something I dared to call love.